Peace be unto ye. What's going on, everybody? How y'all out here doing this Wednesday evening? Welcome to a special edition of Real Talk for Real Men. I am the Honorable Reverend Dr. Lee, taking you to church tonight. Church up in this place, because we got to do something about what's going on around here. Loose women, loose lips, shaking hips. The government can't do it. Parents ain't doing it. It's about time we give the Bible a crack at things around here. So we're going to talk about the Bible. We're going to see if we can straighten some things out around here. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Hear ye, all come enjoy church tonight. Let me introduce my pastor, Pastor Deacon.
I'm not going to play with you. I'm not going to play with you. No. I thought I was going to be one of the honorary harlots, and that needs to be touched.
All right, then I'm going to put a blessing on you tonight too, my sister. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. We going to church up in here tonight.
What would you like for us to call you, Dr. Lee tonight?
Dr. Lee. I'm Dr. Lee tonight. Yes, indeed. I'm going to be preaching. I'm going to be preaching a sermon tonight. Let's bring in some of my brethren. I see Brother Bert and Han and Sister Hannah going to be joining us tonight. How you doing, brother?
What's going on? Pass the offering.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yes, we do accept donations. Yes, indeed, we do. Right here in my pocket. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Let's bring in my brother from another mother. Brother Kenny, how you doing tonight, Brother Kenny?
Will there be one? Will there be one tonight?
I'm trying to tell you.
Evening, congregation.
Evening.
How we doing?
Yes, indeed. We are doing fantastic here tonight. Welcome, everybody. Okay, so now that I've kind of got that out of the way, let me be clear. I want to offer a disclaimer at the very beginning, very top, because I don't want anybody to be ultimately too offended. I always try to let the audience know how we come up with these topics and how we got here. So, first and foremost, we're going to be discussing the Bible in a modern way today. I don't want anybody to be offended. Everything is fair game. And for the record, if you are easily offended by discussing the Bible and thinking that it has to be discussed in such a reverent way, this is not the episode for you. I don't want to offend anybody. If anybody who knows me well, I am actually a spiritual person, but I don't believe any subject is off limits. I think everything should be under review. Somebody's got a TV on that I can hear.
I think it's mine. Hold on. I think that was
Appreciate you, my brother. Thank you.
That's my bad.
No, that's all right, my brother. Appreciate you. And so we're going to have a little fun at the expense of the Bible. And as I say, anybody watching this, coming early, late, please don't be offended, because on any level, this is not meant to demean religion or God. I am a believer in God. But we are going to examine the Bible in the context of a modern day way, because you know what? Nobody's talking about how to solve anything that's going on around anymore. We don't have any leaders. We don't have any spiritual leaders. And so how this subject came to be, and Mick Mac and I, as we always do, we talk about all of the different current events, the things that we see happening in these streets, and just normal as we're kicking around ideas. A funny subject came up, and I'll tell you, Tasha says, you know who I blame for all this shit? I blame Eve.
No, that's not what I said. I said if I could go back in history and fight one person, it would be
There you go. She said she would fight Eve. And we were laughing and talking, and then the light bulb went off in our heads that, you know what? How did we get here? So what we're going to talk about tonight, we're going to talk about a few of the most famous stories from the Bible, and we're going to put them in the context of modern day situations and see what we can get from them. So I am going to be delivering these stories from the as yet released version of the Pimps and Hoes edition. So we're gonna be talking about this is the Pimps and Hoes translation, just so you know.
Oh boy.
What's going on, sis? How you doing?
I'm fine. Hey everybody.
Hey, what's up, Sherry?
So any of you latecomers come?
outside of the pearly gates. We just gonna put you right there, okay? We ain't gonna just let you go all the way to hell. We gonna put you right there outside the gates.
Who, me?
Yeah, right
Well,
down the street.
well, everybody already know I've been practicing for hell for a long time. I got my pitchfork in the closet, and half of you who think you're going to heaven, I'm jabbing you in your ankles because you're going with me. So just so you know.
Oh man,
Oh,
Just
man,
so you know.
you already on one.
Just so
oh,
you
we
know.
ain't even got the sermon started yet.
Indeed.
Right.
So let's jump into this thing. Latecomers, you're all welcome. Let's talk about Adam and Eve. So now, the most famous couple in the world, Adam and Eve. Let's talk about how we got here. So again, I'm reading from the as yet version of Pimps and Hoes, the modern day edition. So let's talk about what happened. Almighty God turned darkness into light, brought us into the light. Yes, he did. And talking to the heavenly son said, you know what? I'm going to create some monkeys in my own image. Yes, he did. Out of the dirt of the ground and of the beautiful place he made a man. He made him perfect. He put him in his house and told him everything around here you can partake of. Enjoy yourself, son. Go on out there and run. Go about your damn business. Adam go out there. His only job was to name the animals of the earth. And in naming them, Adam looked around and said, you know what? Everybody seen he got somebody. Hey, God, what's up with that? I need somebody. God said, I tell you what, let me think about it. Take your monkey ass to sleep and I'll think on it. When Adam went to sleep, he took a rib from it and he made a woe man. And here come when Adam woke up, she was a woe man. She had them things. She was right. She was perfect. I'm talking about big old, she was right. And he put her and said, this yours. Do what you want. Now you two go on out there and you get it on like Jack Rabbits. Matter of fact, I done created a home for you. Everything around here you can partake of except that tree in the middle, that's mine. Y'all leave that alone. They go on about your business. They went on out doing their thing. Now, old sneaky Satan had been watching this whole thing, and he was pissed off because he didn't like the fact that how come God didn't come to me help to create all this stuff? He went to this old Jesus Christ just because he was the firstborn, and I'm prettier than him. I'm beautiful. And you go to him, I got something for you both. So he snuck up on Eve one day. Where your husband at, girl? But you not sitting out in this garden by yourself. Say, I don't know where yet. Say, let me talk to you, baby. I ain't gonna hurt you. You see that tree over there? Let's go get some. She said, no, we ain't supposed to touch that tree. Adam told me we ain't supposed to mess with it. Baby, I got you. Walk with me, baby. Talk with me, baby. And Eve went on that tree, and before you know it, she was filling her gullet with as much as she could stuff down. Here come Adam walking along. What's going on around here? Well, God lied to us. You see me eat, ain't nothing happening to me. So I tell you what, you eat some too. Adam looked around. He thought about it. You know what? I might as well take a bite too. He took a bite, and before you know it, they realized they were naked as they pleased. And God said, well, yeah, they was hiding. God found them two monkeys hiding. So what you done? You done took from me and stole from my house. Get the hell out of my house and put they monkey ass up out of the Garden of Eden. And before he put him out, he said that snatch that you sold me out for, I'm going to make it as painful. Every time you go in that hole, I'm going to create problems for you. And that's how he cursed man and woman. And that's the story of Adam and Eve. I got a question for the congregation. Who y'all blame in this instance for all this mess we in? Tasha said that if she could go back, she'll punch Eve in her face.
Sure.
Tell us
I've seen
why.
my
Tell us why. On a
I've
serious
seen-
note, I'm joking with the story, but on a serious note, I was having fun with the first story, but I'm going to examine it on a serious note. On a serious note, if we had to look at the trouble that we in and all the stuff we've gone through, who do you blame most in this instance? And I want to talk about what lessons we can learn from this. Now, Tasha, you blame Eve. Tell us why.
I do, because you had everything and you just had to go looking for something. You just had to go and create an issue. And I think about, like, in terms of relationships sometimes, that some people, the saying, if you go looking for problems, you're going to find it. They just don't understand how to, you have a good thing. Some people can't help but to get in their own way and to destroy it. because for whatever reason they want to jeopardize their own happiness, or they just can't get out of their own way.
Very, very good point. Dwayne says I do more than punch Adam, so he clearly is blaming Adam.
I
You
agree.
know, Kiana is saying say that. I don't know if you agree with what I'm saying. Bert, you say you blame Adam. Why Adam? And what can we learn from this?
Because pimping already, he was told already what not to do. The instructions was given to him. And you notice nothing didn't pop off until he actually took a bite.
Very good point.
So
Very
I'm
good
Adam.
point.
So I'm gonna have to step to Adam like, yo, bro, what's up with you? What you doing?
Very good point. Very good point. You know, Yana appreciated your point. And Dwayne, he said he messed up the church's money. I agree with you 1,000%, Dwayne. He really and truly messed up the church's money. What you say on it, Brother Kenny?
I mean, I have to agree with Bert. God told him that's on him. He didn't follow the instructions that was given to him to the higher being. I don't care how fine she was or what she was eating on. God told you not to mess with that. So hey, that falls on Adam, you know. Real talk. So I agree with Bert 100%.
So far, the men is blaming Adam. Sis, what you say?
I go along with the men, Bert and Kenny. I blame Adam too, because first of all, you didn't have to listen to her monkey ass. If you and God told you don't eat, you shouldn't have ate. You should have told her. Didn't God tell you don't eat? But shit, now he going to make me another woman, because basically she came from him. I blame Adam all the way. I need to punch him in his face.
I think it's a clean sweep, and although I see your point, McMack, I like this point that Dwayne said. They were simple instructions, you know, and that's why I told the story in a funny kind of way that if somebody give you everything and they simply hold back one thing, that you can have everything around here. We have children. Think about that. Those of us who have children, and imagine preparing a big meal for the holidays, but you bake a special pie and you sit it out to cool and you say, son, daughter, I'm leaving. You know, you can eat from all of this. Don't touch that pie. That's mine. You know, and you really shouldn't have to give any more instructions other than that. Now imagine coming home and finding out that, wait a minute, you had 3 or 4 different types of dessert. You had all kinds of food and you still mess with that? Simple instructions, because I agree with what Sherry said. We don't think about this, that he made Eve from his rib. He really could have cast her aside and made another woman. He simply could have made another woman. But you know, I bring that up into modern times. There's a saying, you know, that we say, there's 2 sayings I'm gonna bring up. Behind every powerful man is a what?
A powerful woman.
A powerful woman.
Correct. But there's a B-side to that. The most powerful men in history have been brought down by what?
By a woman. Yep.
So
because they allowed it.
Absolutely. You know, Dwayne said that's what's wrong with children. Don't touch granny's cake. Absolutely. Even Yana saying true. When you think about it, think about kings and, you know, even the most religious people. A lot of times it's that weakness for women that brings them down. How many religious people through history have been brought down and embarrassed? And we joke about the mixing up the church's money, and we still see it happening today. You know, we still see, you know, the effects of that happening today. But I want to talk about a bigger thing. I don't know if you guys have ever listened to the song by what's the girl who's singing it from the Fugees? Lauryn Hill. Lauryn Hill.
Yeah.
She has a song called Adam Lives in Theory.
Oh,
and there's a line in this song. Oh my God. If you haven't heard this song, do yourself a favor. It literally tells the story of Adam and Eve in the most creative way, how she's preaching about it. And there's a line in this song where she talks about Eve. She said how the serpent persuaded her. She said Eve thought she was bisexual. The song is very, very deep. She thought she was bisexual. And it took me a while to dissect that, to think about what that really meant. And digging deep into it, if you know the story of Adam and Eve, you know what she was alluding to? That Eve was in love with herself more than she was with God. And she desired to have what he had because she was in love with herself even more. But what made this situation especially unnerving, if you really dig into the Bible account of it, is the fact that people don't look at this part. God didn't tell Eve, he told Adam. Adam, as the head of his household, he's the one who disseminated that information down to his wife. How do you think that applies in today's family arrangement?
It's not. I mean, it's not set up like that anymore. I mean, that's not. We don't we don't live by that same type of hierarchy as you could say in this generation. I think if you talk about married couples, I think you do. You know, I think in theory, a lot of women say the man is the head of the house, but I would say that most marriages now it's a head coach and an assistant coach. I would
Wow.
say.
Wow.
And I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that.
Right. No,
At
but I
all.
like that point.
But I mean,
really
I think that's the way marriages are set up now.
Absolutely. Dwayne, man, you need to come on the show because you're making some fantastic points. You're talking about pride. There was so much pride involved in those decisions. You talked about gender reversal. You know,
let me say this real quick about men. I want to say this for women to really listen to me clearly. When we say women is the downfall of men, but some of that responsibility falls on men too because of our lack of self-discipline. Nobody forces a gun to our head to make bad decisions with women. So it's a lot of it is on us too. So that's a side note to what we're talking about.
I'm gonna go further than that. I think majority of it is on men. Because when you talk about the current day households, for generations, men were out there making babies, but they wasn't in those households being responsible as a father, as a parent. And so you put those women in a god-awful position to where, guess what? They don't have a choice. Devoid of a choice, if there's no man around, they have to do something. And so we've had generations that have gotten further away from perfection to where now you have situations where, oh my God, this is what we have. Dwayne, my brother, I put the link in the show. Click on that link. Come on board, my brother. Come on board. We'd love to have you live with us. You know, and so I think that's a big part of the problem, and most of the blame goes to men. But then Dwayne makes a good point about the gender reversals. We're so far away from, in my opinion, the original purpose of what family needs to be. Tasha, can you put the link for in there again in the chat? Yep. Dwayne wants the link. I think we've gotten so far away from it. There you go. There you go, Wayne. If you could do a copy and paste, come on board, my brother. But I think we've gotten so far away from where we're at until the roles have absolutely reversed. And so as we laugh about this, and it's very funny to me in certain ways, but at the same time, what's not funny is where we're at, you know, and how we got here, you know, and we see it playing out. And the other part I talk about of it is the attack on the family. It started at the very beginning by the devil, and it continues today. The true attack on us on the show we do with a Brenton show, we talk about on Brenton show all the time, Brenton Haynes show, TFG. We talk about all these big problems. We talked about this just the other night. The government can't fix it, can't fix everything. It has to start in your home and your own families, you know? And so we've got to figure out a way to get our family structure back together. What's going on, King Noble? How you doing, my brother?
What's up, man?
Yes, sir. And I know you're a spiritual man. Speak on this because you were making some good points.
Like, when I say it's like gender reversals, and you have it's like the spirit of confusion. So if I can twist your mind to get you to think that you're something that you're not, you're gonna do it, right? If I can twist your mind to get you to think that you're LeBron James, That's how you're gonna act. And I think when we take back to Adam and Eve, Eve knew what assets she had in order to trick and tempt Adam. Before the apple, she had to be coerced or pushed into doing said things. So we translate to today's time when there's infidelity in homes and the woman is an infidel, or a woman cheats. What is it that causes her to cheat? She's coerced, she's pushed, she's mentally stimulated. There's something there that causes that, right? And then when it happens, it's a time frame. It's a time frame. It's a time frame. The devil went to Eve like 3 different times before she actually bit and partake of the apple. It only took Adam one time. Hence why men can easily do what they do right now. It's not right, but the thing is, we have so many mental demons that we're fighting, and it started from that. There's a bigger picture than just the fact of temptation. Temptation comes at any given time, but at the end of the day, the devil ain't put no gun to her head and tell her to bite the apple. He just said, "Hey, what's wrong with doing it?
You're
Why can't
absolutely
you do
right.
it?"
You're right, but I want to highlight something in that example as well, though. How many times do we allow ourselves to be put in positions and predicaments when we know the danger is there? Because if you
All
think
the time.
about the simple directions was don't eat from this one tree. And so you talk about her being coerced, you're absolutely right. But you know what? She allowed herself to listen, to linger, because I'm gonna sit here. I'm gonna keep it real. It's called Real Talk for Real Men. I talk all the time about when I was out there doing my dirt. It's planting that seed, and you're right, King Noble. You might not take the first time. I know for me in my devilment days, I could say to a woman, shit, my boy want to hit that. Oh, black, you so crazy. No, I'm dead serious. It don't happen. Anybody who know, it don't happen overnight. But you plant the seed, and you make the situation to where you take away plausible deniability from it, and you'll be amazed at what people will do with the simple planting of a suggestion. Because if you do it the right way, and my specialty was letting women know that I'm not going to see you any different in the morning. So even though me and my boys, we get ready to run a train on this, and we're gonna stuff ourselves down your head and tail, and you ain't gonna drip a drop. So we're not gonna think about you as a whole. Maybe it's just sex. And in essence, that's what the devil did to her. He played with that mind, and she listened long enough, because if you go back and think about the counter when the devil tempted Jesus when he was in the mountain, ultimately what he said, I rebuked you, get behind me, Satan, because and the lesson from that is temptation, folks, even in marriages. I tell women this all the time. A lot of times cheating doesn't happen overnight.
Nope.
It has to be, that seed has to be planted. It's insidious.
It's like a puppy. It's all cute and cuddly in the beginning, and it's groomed and it's played with and it's trained and it's matured and matricized until that now that puppy is a dog. Now that dog can go outside by itself. Now that dog can do whatever it wants to. Why? Because it's been trained, because it's good to go. That's
Absolutely.
like when even in my day, like to Lee's point, I used to do that. Like I'd be like, hey girl, what's up? And I'd say what's up, and then I'd walk away. Or I'd say a few things to her, like, hey, you cute, whatever,
Planting the
saying.
seed.
And then I walk away and I see her again, I talk to her. But it's like nowadays you hear this saying, well, oh, you can't have friends. And it's either or. It's male or female. Oh, what? She won't let you have friends? She know what she want from you. She know exactly what she trying to get when she see you. It's a seed.
It's planting that
We're
seed.
all. It's been there since. It has been there since the creation of Adam and
And
Eve.
that's the point I wanted to bring, that this started from the very beginning. So I hope you can take some lessons from that. We're gonna move on to story number 2. Everybody know the famous story about Noah's Ark. And again, I'm not going to reach deep into my bag, pimps and holes of it, other than to just say, I'm coming back to that bag. But on this one, I just want to say, you think about the situation here, and a lot of people, they know the story, but they don't dig into the context of it. So here you had a situation where, let me put some context to it. God decided he was going to destroy everybody on earth at this time because it was far too much badness. And he told Noah, who was faithful, to build an ark. Now, this is the part that people don't get. When we think about rainstorms and deluges today, that's commonplace. At that time, it wasn't common. So here you have a man telling anybody who would listen that water is going to fall from heaven in such a way that it's going to encompass the entire earth. They thought he was mad. He was insane. Not to mention the fact that he was building a damn boat that was big enough to house 2 of every animal on earth. And this is the part that people forget. If you go back and read your Bible, do you know how long it took him to build the ark? Anybody know?
120.
120 days.
Go back.
120 years.
Go back in
40
years. Go do your research. 40 years. So I want to ask you guys a question. If somebody told you something was going to happen and you saw them in the middle of the street and they was building something, you might halfway believe them the first month or two because you might be scared as hell. Remember when when the millennium was coming, Bernie Mac joked about how people was going out buying bottles of water and sardines because they thought the world was going to end. So if somebody first is telling you about a doomsday, you might kind of think, well, let me wait. I'm a little scared. But imagine if a month go by, then 6 months go by, then 2 years go by. Ultimately, you think this man is insane. And to show you how bad things had gotten at this point, anybody in this room know what Nephilim is?
Mm-hmm.
Enlighten us, brother. No, what is Nephilim?
Now I know what it is. I just can't remember.
Okay, so I'm gonna bring you up to speed. The Bible tells us that the angels became enamored with women. They're the giants.
Yes. It was a cross between man and
correct.
Yeah,
correct.
Giants,
when I always ask people the question, well, where did demons come from? Satan was able to convince other angels to join him. Guess how he did it, y'all? The Bible tells us that the sons of God began to look upon the daughters of man and wanted to have relations. God made these women so sexy that made them say, I want some of that snatch. Satan brought them down here and they put them legs and pent them back and they beat them pussies pretty good. Good enough that they produced giants.
So the Nephilim
absolutely. Let me finish. Let me set it in motion. So you had these Nephilim, and because they was a crossbreed, they were evil. They weren't good beings. And so literally you had wickedness that it covered and encompassed the entire earth to where God basically said, oh no, we got to do this shit over. This is a mess. We're going to start this thing over. But he made a provision because he didn't want to kill everybody, that if you just listen and heed the warning and go inside this ark, you can survive and start over. What's the lesson in that, folks?
The lesson that was in that is just you take 2 seconds to pay attention to the wrong that's done, and you got a choice. Start over, man. Like you sit back and you look at where you fall short at. And it's that time to take a reflection in the mirror. So if you look at water is the most translucent, transparent thing in the world. When you look at water, what do you see? You see yourself, but you see yourself in a broken pattern. But if you look in a normal mirror, you see yourself plain. So the lesson was take a look at your broken self and then put the pieces back together to start all over again. Okay. You don't have to do this, but if you do choose to do this, then this is what's going to happen to you.
Interesting.
A lot
Very
of
interesting take.
I
The
got
lesson for me is
Oh, I'm sorry.
you should have got your monkey self in that ark. Because if a man is out there building for 40 years, I ain't gonna be saying he crazy. I'm gonna get my monkey ass in the ark because I'd rather take my chances. Better safe than sorry.
Okay. So with that said, sis, why do you think people don't listen then? Because that's where I was hoping you would go with that.
Mm-hmm.
That many times, even as parents, let's go back to as parents. Our mother, we had a saying was, "You don't believe fat meat is greasy until you see it sizzling." I don't know if you guys know what that means. A hard
I've
head,
heard you don't believe
a hard
you
head
don't
make a
make a
Make it
soft
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 ass
ass.
ass.
every time. So
Mm-hmm.
why is
Or
it
you don't
that we
believe
as
fire
people,
until fire burns.
bingo, so why is it we as people, if what you say is true, Sherry, why is it we as people, and since this show is about relationships, why do people continue to make the same mistakes in relationships when there is a clear pattern of what's going to happen?
Because we don't, because we want the path of least resistance, and on top of that, we don't trust the process.
Beautifully
We don't
said.
trust the process at all. When it's all set up for us, and hey, listen, this is the way to go. We don't want to go that way because it don't seem like that's according to our plan. So
Beautiful.
we always want to go left.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of it is narcissism as well.
It's definitely that for true. That
We
definitely goes in.
become narcissistic to our emotions, and to pride sticks in there. No, I don't want this type of woman because she don't suck dick a certain way, or I can't, her booty don't clap when I'm when I'm hitting it like that, or she don't do this or she don't do that.
Those are important factors, but okay.
Not with you tonight.
That is not important, brother.
I'm just Tasha and Brother Kenny, what you say?
I was
But
just
It's
gonna say, in
go ahead,
regards,
Tasha.
I'm sorry, in regards to
No.
like the process, I guess I'm looking at it differently, like from Noah's part of it, the faith that he had to keep in that it's coming and to basically like stay the course is coming. And I think
Wow.
about that like in relationships now, people don't, especially in these new age relationships, they don't stay the course. They don't want to build that
Entitlement.
foundation. They don't want to stay with someone. They want it when it's already all together and all hell is going to break loose or the heavens are going to open up. That's what they want. And it's hard to find someone who is going to literally build from the bottom and really have your back. And I do see that has been an issue now with relationships to me.
Beautiful.
And
Beautiful.
like
Beautiful
relationships
point.
Beautiful.
now.
Well said.
Beautiful point,
Tasha
Tasha.
hit it out the park.
Yeah. Hold on for a second,
Yeah.
King Noble. Let me get Kenny in here. What you say, Brother Kenny?
Tasha hit it out the park. I can't even probably say it any better than she said it. The only thing I would add is, as humans, we want what we want. We want what we want when we want it, and that's another part of our problem too. We part of the microwave generation. We want to throw it in there and cook it for a minute and take it out, and it ain't done. So, but outside of what Tasha, she knocked it out the park. I couldn't have said it any better than she said it.
Brilliant, Pastor Tasha. Come on, King Noble. What you say?
I say a lot of it with this generation comes from entitlement. A lot of these children and a lot of these relationships, the 20 to 20, well, I say the 18 to 25-year-olds that are dating now, a lot of it is entitlement. They don't understand what it takes to make a relationship. And then you have mothers and fathers that are 32 or 33 and their child is 20, So there is no foundation, because the foundation in which it should be built is actually putty, because that parent, they haven't experienced life to its fullest to understand, hey, you don't rock in a relationship like that. Like my dad always says, do you want the house on the hill or the shack in the hood?
Good point. But let me throw something out there to you guys, because I'm gonna put older people, on blast as well. It's not just these young people out here that is true enough, the microwave generation. Let's go back to the account of Noah. Do you know what? Do you, if you go read your Bible, you know what it says? It says the people were marrying, being given in marriage, and it says they took no note until sudden destruction was instantly upon them. The reality was they didn't realize their world was crumbling around them until the damn door had been shut by God. And leading up to that point, it talked about them doing everything under the sun. Don't we see that happening now? And so, to your point, Tasha, that you made so brilliantly about relationships and what we see in people on that they want to stay the course, we see in relationships where people are so focused and enamored on what somebody else got and keeping up with the Joneses and getting this and doing that until they lose sight of what's really the most valuable thing about a relationship. And we've gotten to a point where, Brother Kenny, I want you to speak to this part because you and I are single men on here. King Nova, I don't know if you with somebody. We both, I know we single. I don't know if you single or not, my brother. Okay, you single? Okay, so you can speak to this too. What does it say that we have gotten so far away from the most fundamental, simple things that we're looking for in a relationship, but they're looking for everything else? At the end of the day, for me, I just want somebody I could be quiet with and focus on the real part of what a relationship's all about. I joke all the time about a fat ass and this and that. Don't get me wrong, she's got to have a fat ass. I'm not, that is important. But I'm saying, I am saying at the same time too, the most fundamental thing, I don't care about your horse hair and how much you paid for it. I don't care about your fancy purses. I don't give a damn about what you drive. The fundamental things, but nobody wants to work on that. You know, is it just me, Kenny and King Noble?
No, it's not
I
you
mean, it's
at
not.
all. No, you and I talked about this before. I could care less about how many degrees you got, what's in front of you, the doctor in front of your name, how many bedrooms you got, all that, all those is great if you got it. At the end of the day, I just want to know if we could really build something together. Will we? Can we sit and have a conversation and understand? You understand me, and I understand you, and we live life. At the end of the day, pretty simple, but it's so hard to find.
Do you know my marriage ended on this incident, Noah? I kid you not. I loved my wife, and I you know, I'm not saying anything negative about her, but when our marriage was in trouble, I said it's going to rain. Figuratively, it's going to rain. At the rate we're going, it's going to rain. It's going to flood this relationship because we're not putting in the right enough time to make it work. But when I say take no note, we were both, not her, we were both, we were making money and acquiring material things. We went from when we were broke and struggling, we was each other's best friends, and the focus, the marriage was on the closest things. There was 3 chord strand. But the more money we made, the further apart we got, and all of a sudden, we were taking separate vacations, and we had multiple cars. And there was a time when my wife was happy to get a pair of glasses, and we got to a point where she had every kind of color contact lens because we could afford it. And so what became important in our relationship was all of the other things. And it wasn't so much that we were trying to keep up with anybody, but we allowed our relationship to drift apart. And when it started raining, we didn't have the right shelter. The marriage wasn't built for that shit. And that's the real deal.
So like, I mean, I'm dating. I have, you know, my significant other, her and I, to be honest with you, we knew each other like years prior, like 10 years prior. And I tell her all the time, you just got me, you know, for my goodies. That's all you wanted. And, you know, we joke, but that's like our running joke in our relationship.
That's what's up.
And, you know, when I was single though, you're right. Like, I just wanted somebody that was just gonna see me for me, not, you know, the fact that I'm in the military, not the fact that I, you know, have a steady paycheck and, you know, all this and all that.
Yes, sir.
You know, I want somebody that I can have intellectual conversations with, but then when I'm running around the house talking about some yeehaw, hotty, hotty, just acting stupid,
Mhm.
you're still in love with who I am.
Absolutely.
And I made a rule. I said the next person that I married, I got married young. I got married at 18, and that didn't last for like
Ooh,
6 months and
Lord.
15
I thought
seconds.
I got married young. Shit.
Me too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
man,
got
that's
married
what
at
happened.
21,
yeah, I did
18.
too.
Yeah,
I got married at
yeah.
19.
I was
Oh,
22.
God.
No, 18, actually, 18.
Yeah.
Oh, my
So,
God.
you know what I'm saying?
Let me get little sister in here. Little sister, Honda, you came in. So you coming in, we were talking about the story of Noah. What do you take from that story about Noah and preaching for 40 years, constructing an ark, following God's commandment, and nobody believing in what he was saying until instant destruction? How do you apply something like that to what you and Bird are building?
Oh, we getting deep.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I told you I'm
I
taking you to
didn't,
church. Get
I
some
didn't
church
hear
up
any
in
of
here.
this. Ooh, okay. So what we're building, so I would have to say, I'm trying to compare it to us because I ain't doing no submissive thing, but I would follow his lead. So like Noah was telling people, I know that he would lead our household a certain way. So if he came to me and said, um, I gotta build this ark, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. People might look at us crazy. I'm gonna be right there helping you get some sticks. We're gonna build this ark, and whoever come, whoever don't, they not coming. Cause as long as I know I trust him. Far as trying to get others on board, I don't think so. Because you can trust in your foundation, but outside people are not going to trust because they don't know. That's a lot. Why you say, well, outside people come in, they probably won't believe. They probably will think that we're not doing the correct thing. But I think that's another reason why back then Noah family was easier for him to get his family on board because they know him. But trying to get people who don't know you, who don't know what you're saying, who don't know what you really stand for, it's like how they deal with politics nowadays. You really don't know. You just gotta take and see, and whatever comes, comes. So applying to us, I just would have to say I'll follow his lead like Noah White and them did.
Good points. Good. What do you want to add to that, Brother
Real,
Bird?
real good points.
No, I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. We built the foundation. We stick into the process. And pretty much just like when the ark got shut up. We don't let others people that don't believe come into that ark and bring in all that other nonsense and all that other noise that can disrupt and cause us to be separate. Where we caught up in the flood.
Brother, you said something there, because one of the things that led to the deluge, my wife had everything. She didn't want for nothing. But you know what? Remember that Satan in Eve's ear? A lot of people like to have their ears tickled. My wife had a lot of single friends, and they never said anything bad about me. But here's where the tickling come in. Girl, you got to go home this early? Ooh, I'm so glad I ain't married.
Ooh.
Oh, you got to cook
Oh,
dinner?
oh,
I'm glad I
oh.
can do this now. Sometimes the little things is not necessarily against you, but it's just enough that you know what happened over time. That person start thinking, well, maybe there is something out there better for me. And you talk about following the process. And so what was built initially on a solid foundation, little brick comes out here, a little brick comes out there. So for you two guys and what you're trying to build, I love what you just said, Brother Bird.
But see,
Shut that damn door. Tell people to mind their goddamn business. I got this over here.
I know
I
that's
feel I
right.
feel like
Exactly.
I feel like that is the biggest problem with marriages now. And I look at marriages, I look at white Caucasian marriages, and I look at African American marriages. They don't let that. Well, some. I'm not saying all,
I was going to
but
say, who?
but so different people, different folks, different strokes. How about that?
Mm-hmm.
But again, what do you see ostracized the most? Our relationships. We have in marriages, we allow too many things to come in the middle. Like you said, Lee. Oh, girl, why you got to do this? Girl, clean up for him, and he, girl, if he ain't doggone done this for you, so why you gonna sit up here and cook? And then what does it do? Well, dang, babe, I've been working like
Taking a
all
break
day.
out.
You can't, you ain't
There
gonna
you
cook
go.
tonight? No, I don't feel like cooking. What you gonna do for me?
Very
Hold
good
up.
point.
First of all, I got dang on freaking, go to work 17, 18 hours a day for your black ass. What the hell you talking about?
That all comes with, I think, with being a strong woman. That's it. That you when you're a strong woman, you have a mind of your own. Nobody can tell you what to do. Me and my husband been married for how much years, and nobody can come between us because I tell him, only person can fuck me and him up is me and him. And the bottom
Right.
is as far as that, and ain't nobody tell me to suck no dick because I don't want to, and I'm not.
Where
And
did
if I
this
wanted to
shit
suck dick,
come
it'll be
from?
because I want to do that.
Now,
So it's all about a strong-headed woman and how you. Because a friend can't tell me nothing about my husband or none of that. So I think it stems from being a strong woman.
Good point, sis. In the interest of time, we're gonna move on to the next story, but I am gonna throw Revelation chapter 24 through 38 on you. Sucking dick is good for ye.
Not
But
me.
That is
okay.
not in the original version. That is not in the original
That,
All right.
version.
you know what?
It ain't good for me
I'm
neither.
All right.
Man.
gonna take off.
Okay. We're moving on to Sodom and
So
Gomorrah.
so
Whoa.
so
Oh
look
my
look
goodness.
when that lightning.
Because when that light strike me, if y'all see me go off camera, no.
See, he probably one of the last of the Nephilims. That's what that is.
Oh my God.
Well, my brother always tell me I'm green, King,
That
but
is.
I'll take that because
So
really,
hold on. So speaking of sucking dick and ass plugging, let's talk about Sodom and Gomorrah.
okay. So
That's a nice segue.
Wow.
I knew it.
Because
Oh
y'all
boy.
know what
Nice
sodomy
segue.
is. Where y'all think we got the word sodomy from?
Sodomy
That's
from.
right. You're right.
Yeah.
Literally. So
Yeah.
let's talk about it. Let's contact. Here you have a situation that after the flood. Now we got a do-over. Now we got a do-over. People that was trying to the Tower of Babel. You know, if you know the story about the Bible, God confused the languages and people scattered everywhere. So they moved to individual cities and they formed cities and people want to do their thing. And here you got Sodom and Gomorrah, two of the most wealthiest cities at the time. So this was New York City
There you go.
at the time. This was decadence. This is where they had it going on. And I grew up in New York City in the 70s and 80s, where if you went down on 42nd Street, you had all of the theaters. Oh, pussy was everywhere. And back then, pussy was pretty cheap. But anyway, I digress. So let's talk about Sodom and Gomorrah. So you had these two cities, and they were wealthy cities. And it got to the point where once again, the wickedness was so over the top that God said, I can't have this. And there was a faithful person named Lot. So God revealed to Lot that I am going to destroy these two cities. You know, Lot begged for the people, please, God, don't destroy these cities, you know, because again, you got to remember, up until this point, the story of the flood had been passed down to him. So Lot didn't want to see this happen again. Oh my God, we got to start all over again. So he begged God, please spare these cities. God said, if you can find 100 people, 100 righteous people, I'll spare the city. Lot goes out. These sons of bitches didn't want to do right. He go back to God. Oh my God. Okay, can I just have 50? God say, find me 50 people. 50 people. Lot go out there talking to people. Just get your life right. Get your stuff together. Get out of here, old man. They don't want to hear that. They sucking, ducking, snucking, and everything else. Go back to God. Oh my God. He said, I tell you what, Lot, if you can find just 10 righteous people in 2 cities, just 10, give it 10. Bring me 10 people and I'll spare the city. Lot went out looking. Couldn't find 10 righteous people. Let me tell you what's going on in Sodom and Gomorrah. Talk about where Sodom come from. It got so bad that 2 angels showed up in the city undercover, because they want to investigate. Let's what's going on down here. 2 angels showed up, knocked on Lot's door. A bunch of men banged on his door. Bring them men out there. We want to beat them booty holes. We want them. Bring them out. Lot said, please don't harm these strangers. They new here. Here's my daughter. He pushed his own daughters outside his door and told them, before you touch these 2 strangers, I'm giving you my daughters. Do what you want to with them. They mushed them 2 bitches in the face. Get out the way.
They did, yeah.
We don't want no snatch. We want booty hole. Bring them 2 men out. God said, I done heard enough. Lot, get your wife, get your children, get your family, get your shit and get up out of here because I can't take it no more. And he said, you leave, and I want you leaving now. Get up out of here. Don't grab nothing. Get your shit and get out of here now. Lot told his family, we got to go. It's happening. It's going down right now. Leave everything behind. The wife snagging behind. Let me get my purse. And well, what I'm going to do, bitch, get your shit and come on up out of here. We need to be running for our life. They trotting, getting up out of that city. This bitch turned around and said, I'm going to miss my house. And he struck a monkey ass down and turned on the pillows. Sit 2 angels down there. Count them all. What's the lesson here, folks? I told you I'm reading from the modern day version of Pimps and Hoes. I'm sorry.
I would say for me, whenever I think about the story and how it applies, I think about like how you are transitioning from one stage of your life to the other, and how you could be like in a relationship and it's time for you to get married and mature, but the single life still calls out to you. And like you just can't help but constantly getting sucked back into it. Sometimes, not everyone, but that's the way that I see. That's the way that I kind of think about it. It's the single life. You just can't help it. Like you just want to keep. You can't. He can't help it. He's for the streets. She can't help it. She just for the streets. That's the way.
And that's what I was gonna say.
I like
some people.
Good point.
Some people, you just can't. It's like you can't leave well enough alone. Like, bruh, leave that girl alone, man. All right, you keep effing with that girl, you're gonna get watched. You're gonna get pregnant, and then it's gonna be bruh. You keep fucking with her, you keep fucking her. She gonna burn you, man. She be in these streets. You keep telling somebody something, and again, we don't believe fire burn till it burn, bruh. Man, I woke up, my doggone freaking, my dick was leaking, bruh. I don't know what the heck.
Oh,
like, I told you. Like,
Hannah said, Jesus.
I told you, my man. I told you that was gonna happen. Leaking, leaking. You wait, like, God damn, what is it? Like, yeah, bro, I told you.
I done leaked a few times. Come on in here, Bert.
What?
Come on in here, Bert.
You was leaking?
What? What I got to do with me? Look.
I thought we was going about the relationship. Wait a minute.
Well, the way I look at it is like this. What I got from it is that when you're being brought out of a bad situation, don't look back at the shit.
Don't go
back. I mean?
to
Keep moving forward. Don't look back. You're being delivered out of a certain situation, out of a hellish situation. And sometimes we have the tendency of looking back. Just take a little peek and see what's going on, and you don't need to do that. Just keep moving.
Let me tell y'all a quick story. Let me tell y'all a quick story. And some of you might be able to relate to this. You might have been in a situation before. I was working in an office at one point, and there was after my marriage, I found the second one. I found love again accidentally. So a woman I worked with in an office, and she was in an abusive relationship. She would show up in the office a lot of times. You could tell that, you knew she was going through something. She always wore these scarves, on her neck and sometimes glasses, and you can kind of see the bruises and whatnot. Long story short, she and I became good friends. She was in a relationship, so I wasn't pursuing her then. And we became such good friends that she opened up and told me she was in an abusive relationship. Long story short, one particular night, she showed up at my door at 3 o'clock in the morning. The guy beat the brakes off her. Normally when he hit her, she could hide the bruises. Anyway, she hid out at my house for a couple of days. The guy, we got in a fight that night, me and the guy, because she didn't want to go back home. I was taking her home to get a few things, because she was gonna stay with me. And as I'm driving, because she left her car, she was so scared to go home. I'm praying to God, please don't let him be there. Please don't let him be there. Sure enough, when I pull up, he's there. He's pulling on my car, knocking on the window and everything. And I'm telling, bro, please don't do that. Now at this particular time, this is important to the story. I was at the height of my beauty at this time. I was a 5'11" Adonis, muscular build, strong legs from playing tennis, used to jog, had a nice little frame on me. I weighed about 190 pounds. And I put together. I was beating them hoes back then. So I was pretty good. This guy was about 5'7", 5'8", about 145 pounds. I'm begging him, please, don't hit her. I pull him on my car. We get out. He dragging him by the arm. She begging me, please don't leave me. Please don't leave me. Without making the story too whatever, I had on a silk shirt, and the guy swung on me, and I clipped him, and then I realized I had got his blood on my silk shirt, so I ended up hanging him from a balcony.
What,
basically.
in the Suge Knight?
Literally.
Right.
I ended up hanging this guy from a balcony, and she's begging, don't drop him, don't drop him. So let's fast forward. Months later, she and I were dating. We were dating for 9 months. And one night, to your point of your story, Bert, one night, me and her were supposed to be going out of town, and she disappeared on me, blah, blah, blah. I'm telling the story so fast. We end up not going and staying at my house. We was going to leave the next morning. So we end up going out in Memphis that night instead of hitting the road. I left my car at her apartment. We in her car, and we in my house. And we lived way across town from each other. We get in from kicking it that night. I got the lights dim. I'm getting ready to handle my business. Bing bong. Look out my door. It's the guy outside my house. Now, the first thing go to my mind is, how did he know where I live?
Yeah.
Anyway, long story short, as I go outside again, the guy, now mind you, already had beat the guy's ass. He's like, I'm sorry, me and her been talking. Oh, really? And when I turn back to see her, she's got the deer in the headlights looking in her face. I told her, go on out there and talk with him. This is where I live. Don't create no trouble. I'm pacing in my house like, what in the world is going on? So about 15 minutes go by, and I peek out, and I can see them talking. Anyway, I end up handing her a purse. I said, look, bro, I'm getting ready to go to bed. I got to leave in the morning. Make sure she get home. I locked the door, set my alarm, took my monkey ass to sleep. Next morning, I drive over to her apartment. He's still there. He comes, he answers. We didn't do nothing wrong. You good? We good, bro? Baby, I just need to get my keys anyway. We end up breaking up behind this. To your point of the story is, she had been delivered from a situation where a guy was whooping her ass, and she voluntarily turned back. Because what I end up discovering and learned, the valuable lesson I learned, that sometimes people are so broken, or they want something that there was something she needed and craved that I could not provide. Being that I don't beat women's asses, I can't give her that. And there's a lot of broken women out here that they crave a level of chaos and lunacy that you just can't make them whole. And so even though where Lot's wife was on the other side of salvation, her heart was missing what was left behind. And she turned, and it cost her her life. To this day, I don't know what happened to that young lady. I know for me, I'm one of those people that once you show me who you are, I believe you. I was out because I'm not in the business of fixing things that I know I can't fix.
That's right.
So that's what we call where I'm from, we call that reindeer games. You don't play reindeer games with people. And you said something that really resonates. A lot of people are broken, and then they look for something to fix them.
Very true.
Something can't fix you. You fix you. I dated a woman like that, to where she wanted to cause drama. But like your situation, it wasn't a fight that it was a fight, and then it was pistols being drawn out later. You know, all because he feels some type of way because she with me, but all in the background, she playing both of us. And it took me to have that common sense to say, yo, bro, yo, homie, yo, cuz, why are we fighting? And she the cause of it.
That's the wisdom. I think about R. Kelly and Usher, same girl, the song.
Same,
You know,
it's like people
point.
don't understand. If you at point A, stay at point A. Try to get to point B. Why you want to go
I
backwards to point C?
I agree.
It is a reason for it. There is a reason that God opened a door for you to walk out of a situation because you don't see that you might die, you might lose everything you have behind some pussy or some dick. My daddy say pussy and dick make people go crazy in this world.
Absolutely.
And
it does.
You can't allow someone to have that much power over you to where you have to depend on them for life.
Absolutely. Brother Kenny and Sherry look frozen. What do you guys take from the story of Sodom and Gomorrah?
I would say, I mean, you guys kind of hit it pretty much on point. I would say that a lot of times dysfunction is something that a lot of people operate from, and that's all they know. And until they decide that they don't want to be in a dysfunctional situation or relationship, that's what they're going to be drawn to. And to your story, Black, a lot of women like dysfunctional relationships. They thrive on that. They feed on that. And also men. A lot of men and women, for some reason, they feel like if you don't care about me, we ain't getting into it, or we ain't going back and forth. We always, some people just love that type of dysfunction, and they feel like that's love, and it's that's dysfunction. And then just to speak on Sodom and Gomorrah, I would say that Will and Jada Smith's marriage is a perfect example of that
situation.
Wow.
to me.
Wow.
Because of what they, I mean, and the teacher's on, but their marriage is Sodom and Gomorrah-ish to me.
Yeah, in more ways than one. I'm gonna get to you, sis, but I want to comment on that, Kenny. Sherry, what you got to say on this, sis?
No, y'all pretty much hit the nail on the nose. Only thing about you and King stories that y'all said y'all had, who y'all thought y'all was? Super saver hoe? Can't save these hoes. You gotta let these hoes.
Sorry, y'all.
We'll see. So here's the thing
but you know
about
what,
that,
sis?
though.
But you know what, sis? When you're young, you think you can save people.
Exactly.
You really do think you can save somebody. See, age and wisdom, it kicks in, then you realize what King Noble said, that you can't save somebody, they have to save themselves. But when you are young, you do think, and guess what's happening all the time? Sherry, it still happens. People still think they can. Because how many times we always talk about super saver hole? Let's flip that for a second. How many women see a man that's making babies, that's beating women, he don't want to work, and you know what she says? I can change.
I don't ever want to be with none of that.
No. She says I can change him. Oh, he not gonna do that to me. Look at the little story that's playing out. Look at the little story that's playing out in social media right now with the baby and Danny Lynn and all that kind of stuff. When somebody show you who you are, but a lot of women too, sis, they think he not gonna do that to me, even though he cheated on his wife with me, but now that I got him, he's gonna be faithful. So you do think you can save people. You really
can't
do.
say nobody don't want to be saved.
It's exactly.
I agree.
And then it's like that what you said. What makes you think your pussy so much better that he gonna stay with you?
Absolutely.
What makes you think your stroke game better that she gonna stay with you?
It takes age, but there you go. It takes age and wisdom. But I want to comment on the Will and Jada thing, because you made a good point. It's funny that you brought that up, Brother Kenny, is because at the beginning of the Sodom and Gomorrah story, the part that gets lost in there is these were the two richest cities at the time. So there was a reason why she looked back and didn't want to leave, because all of the trappings were there and they were living this great life. Even though everything around them was wicked and evil, it didn't matter. And so when you bring up Will and Jada, I swear to, I put this on everything I hold dear. I'm asking a simple question. Why the hell are y'all still married? You clearly have an open relationship. You both have enough money to go your separate way. Your children are grown, so you're not staying together for the kids. We live in a world now where be whatever you want to be. Will, if you want to come all the way out and tell the world that you like a little dick, that's fine. You're not going to lose your career. Jada, you clearly like young boys standing up in that snatch. What are you two still staying together? I see your look on your face. I don't get why they're together, except it is a Sodom and Gomorrah situation. That together they are poison and they're making a mockery of marriage. In my personal, humble opinion, they're making a mockery of it. You're coming on with this show to enlighten us all about how y'all have risen above the regular bounds of marriage. Why don't you guys just go your way and Will suck a little dick, Jada, let them young boys beat that snatch till the cows come home, and everybody, and on top of that, shut the hell up. I'm tired of hearing about you all.
I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
I'm just saying. All right.
You know what? Now I'll say this. It might be Will's been divorced, and he might just not want to go through a divorce again. Has nothing to do with being together. You know how they say it's cheaper to keep her, and they've been together so long. They're in California, so they're gonna be splitting everything. Ain't no Commonwealth. They might just stay together, and it's people that be divorced, be separated for 30, 40 years and never file for divorce. So I just think he might not want to get another divorce again.
Even if that's possible, I'm gonna say this. Then we're gonna move on to the prodigal son. I just refuse to believe. Number one, let's say that they don't have a what you call it, agreement about the separate funds. They don't have a prenup in place. Let's say if they don't have a prenup, even if they split up and they was to divide it evenly, he himself is worth $270 million on his own. On his own. And I'm bringing up only his salary for a reason. That even if you split that in half, you got more money you ever could spend in your lifetime, and you're making a mockery of marriage. There's a such thing as called personal pride and being happy, because at every turn, this woman is embarrassing the shit out of you.
Yes.
You don't even look like a man anymore. And my thing is, there was a time, maybe 15 years ago, when as a leading man, he couldn't say he was bisexual. We don't live in that world anymore. Nobody cares. Matter of fact, y'all keep dragging people in your bedroom. We don't care what you do.
Right.
And so for that reason, go. No, I'm ready to go into another subject, but I just want to answer Hannah's part. I got to get to the prodigal son in case you guys don't know the story about the prodigal son. So here you had a father,
Lucifer Morningstar. Here we know.
So this one is not the Lucifer part. This is an actual father,
the other guy
he's rich. Now the father was a wealthy man, and he had children, and this one son decided, you know what, I'm not gonna be hanging around here and shit, raising those sheep and goats and living around here on the land. I got things to do. I'm taking my inheritance because I'm old enough now, and I'm going to go see the world. And he went out there and he lived it up. Blew every dime he had. Slept in whole houses. Got drunk every night. Done his thing. And then when he was good and broke, he come limping his ass home. The father, on seeing the son come home, told his household, we're going to throw a feast like you've never seen before. My son, who was lost, is come back to us. Now, the son that had stayed all them years working the farm, living the life, he was a little bit angry. He was a little bit pissed off about this. Now, this MF done went out, blew all his money, kicked it, and done his thing. I've been here fucking around with these sheeps and goats, working the land. You ain't do no party for me. And this nigga come home and here you are throwing we breaking out the best meat for this. We opening up the best wine for this.
Right? You break out
Cause
the
he
Douce for
just cause
this?
he come
That
home.
was Duce. They wasn't drinking no damn Duce.
Right. It's,
No, they wasn't drinking no
exactly.
Douce.
Exactly.
Hey, look, they was drinking that spade.
And,
Spade. This
and
is
so we celebrate this, and the father explained to him the value of a lost son coming home. You know, that I don't have to worry about you. You've been here. You've been fine. You've been taken care of. But what you're missing here, son, is that he was lost and he lost his way. And yes, he blew all the money and he done all those bad things. But I'm not worried about that. I'm elated that he's come to his senses, realized everything he's lost, wants to be accepted back into the family, and I'm going to bless him and bring him home. Let's talk about it, folks. What do we get from this? Because Lord knows we see this happening in real life all the time.
I'm gonna tell you right now.
That's straight. That's straight unconditional love.
Woo!
That's unconditional love.
Woo! Talk about it, kid.
And you very rarely find that. It's very from a relationship perspective. Now I don't think you find that unconditional love. I'm not saying it's not out there,
right?
But for someone to love you out there just tricking off, you done messed up. You just done disrespected them and yourself, and for that person to still love you. And women tend to give more unconditional love in relationships than men do. That's straight love right there.
I was hoping you went there. I was hoping you went there because that for me is it. I was hoping you went there. Go ahead, Hannah and Bert. You went with you. Beautiful, brother Kenny.
I disagree with that wholeheartedly.
And I'm coming to you next, then. But come on, Hannah and Bert.
Yeah. You want to go first, Bert? You want to go? All right. Yeah. Kenny, you knocked that one out, man. Like that's totally unconditional. As far as somebody going out there, like you said, tricking off the money, doing God knows what, and that kind of reminds me like an old school relationships. You know what I'm saying? Like the man going out there doing God knows what with the house money, whatever, and then next thing you know, even though mom or at this point grandma knows like what he doing, she still accept him back in, get him cleaned up, get him freshened up. And it's like, I'm just glad that you just back home. I'm worried about the bottom line. The bottom line is you back and you still not hanging out there. So, yeah, I mean, to say the truth, I don't know too many men, like if you going like relationship wise, I don't know if too many men are built that way to forgive if it's a woman that does that, because it's our pride.
I agree.
And we don't, I don't know if that's really in us. Beautiful. And I hate to really say that, but I mean, it's the truth. Beautiful. But with women, they have like a bigger heart. And they can look past all the BS, like, all right, I see that, but guess what? At the bottom of it, you're a good person, and this is your mess up, and I'm willing to get you cleaned up and get you back on track for the sake of the relationship, as long as you in on it 100%, and let's see what can happen moving forward. And that's just something that, man, that's a woman. That's a strong woman.
Yes, sir. We always talk about some of the negatives when that in y'all column, that's high. King Noble, you disagree. Come on with it, brother.
All right. So children. Yes. Like if my daughter was to go out, and this is my baby, it's the only one I got. And if I do have some more, she's always gonna be my baby because she was the first. If she was to go out, act the fool, yada yada yada, yeah, I'm gonna bring my baby home. But she gonna catch his L when she come home because I'm gonna tell her about herself. Now, that's unconditional love for a child.
Okay.
Which as a parent you're supposed to. That is a part of you. Now, that heathenistic somebody that you with in a relationship, I have been the type of guy who has forgiven every last person that I have been with. Even when they have done me dirty, dogged me out, left me with nothing, I've still accepted them back. So, however, when I've done dirt and I've done wrong, which I can admit, the same thing was not reciprocated of me. So I do not believe that human beings are really truthfully capable of true unconditional love. And I have to throw it at Christians because what does the Bible say? Love thy brother and sister unconditionally, basically, right?
Mhm.
But you name one Christian out here that can actually sit back and say that in the relationship they've been in, they are able to forgive and accept that person back and not have a condition behind the acceptance when they bring that person back.
Okay, so I want to give the audience a chance to answer that since you posed that question.
Brittany answered that perfectly. Thank you, Brittany.
Brittany says no one is saying that men don't forgive, just that women do it more often.
I don't think so.
That's what I was saying. That's
on
what
the
I
show,
was saying.
we always agree to disagree. You know, that's okay. So I love you that you're standing with your views. Sherry and Tasha, what do you say? Because King Noble is asserting that people really don't forgive unconditionally, that they might forgive, but there are conditions. What do you guys say to that?
I agree with Kenny because I think it's a different type of love, especially when it comes from a parent. You understand? Because if my daughter did that and she went off and came, I'm going to accept my daughter back unconditionally. You
Okay,
understand?
but we're not talking about that part yet. I think we all agree with that part. What King Noble is challenging is that in relationships, Kenny is saying that women have the capacity to have that level of unconditional love. King Noble said he doesn't believe it.
I do, because you have women out here that do, because that's like battered women. You have a woman, a man, beat them till they knocked all up, and then he'll go away with the next woman, take all the money and leave the kids, and you go through the struggle, and then next thing you know, a month or two later, she'll be somebody, well, he didn't mean it.
Okay.
What the hell you mean he didn't mean it? He done knocked your head up and bumped you up.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I think, I agree. When women do tend to do that more often than men. Mm-hmm.
Tasha, what you say to this?
It's so much to unpack here. I mean, like with the other things in the story, you have greed, jealousy, acceptance,
Yes.
forgiveness, all of that in
Yes.
there, right? But I'm torn here because in one school of thought, I would like to think that yes, women are more forgiving and tend to be unconditional. However, if you're asking me about now, it's definitely conditional. I'm seeing
Good
the switch.
point. Good point.
And so I think like once upon a time, I think, yeah, it'd be easy to say
Good
that, but
point.
now
Good point. Very good point.
I don't know.
Very good point. So she's leaning, giving some credence to what King Noble says.
Yeah.
You make some
And
very good
I agree with Tasha. We talking about now. I think women only love you as a man from certain conditions. I totally believe that now.
Very good point.
But
Very
I'm
good
just
point.
speaking overall in general relationships. I think women tend to love more unconditionally than men. Not saying men don't,
I agree.
but
I
women
agree.
tend to more
I
so than
agree.
men.
I agree. And I just want to end it by highlighting what Bert
Hold
said.
up. Wait.
I want to highlight what Bert said in the sense that I don't think we're built that way. You know, there is from going back to the first story of Adam, we're built in such a way with a level of pride that I don't think we're built that way. And I think women, just in general, in my personal opinion, they're built with a greater capacity to do it. But as Tasha said, there's so much more to unpack from it because I think about parents who have more than one child and there's favoritism that goes on. So that's where there's different parts of the story that comes into play. And when you think about that level of it, I'm gonna use my own personal self as an example where for a lot of years I struggled with not even feeling connected to my mom because I felt like here I am the youngest and and I go off, and when I left home at 17, I never had to go back home. I always worked. If my lights got cut off, I didn't ask for money, but I had older brothers that every time you look up, they're in trouble and they living back home. And it seemed like she valued them more than she valued me. And I struggled with that internal jealousy of not finding my place. And like, I wanted you to be proud of what all I've done, but it felt like you're giving them more love. It took, again, age and wisdom for me to realize that from her perspective, I don't worry about him because he is responsible. He's going to do what he's going to do. But these two over here, they need me more. And you see that a lot of times in situations where there's more than one kid. And so you have to really, I'm saying this from a parental standpoint, be sure to recognize that and let that other kid know that they're just as loved. But some kids need a little bit more attention. And yes, you do rejoice when they find their way. How about that kid that just wasn't good in school? They fuck up everything they do. They bad with money. They never been in a stable relationship. Then all of a sudden they find their way. It seems like the parent is overjoyed because, oh my God, thank you, Jesus. He or she has finally found their way, and there's some value in that. So I can truly appreciate that. I got one last story, but King Noble, you had something quick to say, and I'm gonna go to my last story. Did you have something?
I did, and
I made you lose your point.
No, you didn't. You didn't. So
okay.
we keep saying that women have the capacity to love unconditionally. However, again, I disagree because when there is the man and woman relationship, there's conditions to get a woman's unconditional love.
I got you. I love the fact you stuck to it. One of the most simple fundamental principles of Real Talk for Real Men is we agree to disagree without being disagreeable. That's what we do. Fantastic. So
facts.
My last story is bringing it home. We started with a hoe. We're gonna end with a hoe.
Yeah, you stupid.
Why you gotta pick on the homie like that?
Cause Reverend Dr. Lee love the hoes. So let's end this. Let's talk about this nasty, filthy, no good bitch Salome. Now, in case you don't know the story of Salome and the king, King Herodes was the king of Israel. This is during the time of the Roman Empire. Now, Rome was the king of the world, but they was leaving little Israel alone to do their own business, even though they was over them. And this is during the time when they was talking about the Messiah is going to come. Jesus hadn't been born yet. And all of a sudden, away in the manger is Jesus Christ on his way. Now, King Herod was evil. He wanted to hold on to his kingdom. He would do anything to hold on, even though he knew the Bible, he knew the prophecy, but his pride, his greed, his jealousy, he wanted to hang on to his kingdom no matter what. So he always had spies around trying to figure out when this child was going to be born. So that's happening over here. But now he also was a lustful king. And in fact, he was such an evil king, his wife, his current wife, it was actually his brother's wife. So he married his brother's wife. Now, where they do that at, y'all? That's just nasty. But he took this.
Joe Biden.
In Wisconsin.
Jermaine Jackson did it.
Jermaine Jackson did it.
Jermaine Jackson did it.
Yes, he did. But folks, you know that.
Did.
But you know that's nasty.
Joe Biden's son married his brother's wife.
Now,
did.
Now, the Honorable Reverend Dr. Lee, I ain't got no problem sleeping with her. Just don't marry the bitch. But you can sleep with her. But okay. But anyway, he married this hoe. She was evil. She was evil too. But in the midst of that evilness, she had her own little grown daughter, and the daughter had a fat, pump little ass, nice little titty, dick sucking lips. So she was pretty hot. And she And she had that twerking thing down to a science. She could wag that
Twerking
ass.
it.
Yes, sir. And she was wagging that ass so good. King Herodus, he wanted some of that. I got to look. She ain't really my daughter. That's what he thought. You know. And she getting pretty grown around here. I see you growing up. He's looking under his glasses. You getting pretty big around here. Anyway, one night at this feast, while he was entertaining the Roman governor and a bunch of people, you know what I'm saying? And at this time, the foretelling of Jesus was coming. And guess who was in jail at the time? John the
John.
The
Baptist.
Baptist.
And John the Baptist, Herod was scared of him because he knew he had prophesied the truth. Now, the wife was evil. John the Baptist had told Herod's wife to her face, "You're a nasty, no good bitch, and you ought to be destroyed."
Sure did.
But
I
Herod,
remember
he
that
didn't.
version. I read
It was something like
This
that.
is
He
the
paraphrased
this
it.
is the
You know,
God.
that's the
This is
paraphrase. That's the
this is
paraphrase
this is
version.
the gospel truth according to Pimps and Hoes.
This the NIV version.
And he told him to her face.
What the nigga
He
international
told
version?
Herod, "You just nasty and use a hoe." He told him to their face.
Yeah.
And she told him, "You gonna let him talk to me like that? Kill him." But Herod, no. He knew he was a righteous man. He knew he was honor. I can't kill him. So this nasty bitch plotted to have John the Baptist killed.
Mhm.
She told her, she told her, "Go out there and shake that ass like you never shook it before. Because I see him watching you. And I ain't above letting you put your legs behind your ears for him, but we got to get something out of it." So Salome went out there. They put on a little bit of Megan Thee Stallion music, and she dropped it, and she worked it, and she did her little thing. King Herod looked at that ass wagon, and he got hypnotized. He got so hypnotized watching that ass work, he told her, "Whatever you want, you got it. You can be president of these here United States. You got it." She said, "For real? I'll make you a promise. Whatever you, I just want some of that snatch. Whatever you want, you name it." She went to her mother, and the mother told her, "I want John the Baptist's head on a platter." He didn't want to do it, but she told him, "If you renege on this deal, I'm going to tell everybody in here you're a lying, no good, filthy, no good. And I'm going to tell you what, they're going to know you ain't about your word. You're not a man of your word."
Straight up.
So as much as it pained him, he ordered John's head cut. Now, did he get that snatch? Probably not. But he killed a holy man. What we get from this story, y'all?
Pedophilia and prostitution. That's what the hell I got covered. Pretty much.
Let me tell you what we get from the story. And I'll end it. Hoes been winning.
I got crime or passion.
Okay.
Crime or passion. For sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Yeah, that
absolutely
too.
was. But when we look at 2021, hoes been winning for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? And being nasty and filthy, it will get you to the top. Now you want to know what? Now ultimately, you want to know what happened to Harris' wife? They threw that bitch out of one of the dogs ate up. But you know, but hoes be winning. And in interest of time, I'm gonna leave it at that because I want to end on that note with the Honorable Reverend Dr. Lee telling you hoes, shaking that ass, it might get you a head on a platter, but it also can get you thrown from a window. You dirty, no good bitch. You.
Yeah, and it could also fuck somebody like
You know what?
with your head cut off.
Oh, okay, y'all. Look.
And
All right.
Well, now y'all see why I could never date my brother if ever, because all he think about is a fat pumpkin ass.
Ending it on a serious note. So I want to say this. I gave a disclaimer at the very beginning. We had a little fun at the expense of the Bible. I don't want anybody out there to be stumbled. We had a little fun. In the midst of it, I hope this is the part that I hope gets past the jokes and the funny part. And I meant this at the very beginning. With all of the problems we have facing us, we know that we got a government that's run amok. People are quitting their jobs at record levels. The infrastructure of our country is falling apart. The family unit is under attack like we've never seen before. Relationships are at an all-time low. We don't know whether we going or coming. And we don't talk about the Bible enough. I wanted to introduce this topic in a funny way, but on a more serious note, I hope it made you start thinking a little bit about the Bible if you haven't in a while, because there's some fantastic stories in there. And I tried to bring them to life a little bit in a very funny, humorous way, but there's a lot of good wisdom in the scriptures. So for anybody telling you that that book is outdated, it doesn't matter, we can debate here all day and long about whether or not you believe in God, believe in the Bible, whatever you want to go, you can go there. And I'm not advocating to turn anybody into believe in the Bible. I am trying to show with this show that there are some beautiful stories that have so much meaning and impetus on the way we live our lives and could impact some of the decisions that we've made, because you can't truly learn from your future unless you understand your past. So whether you want to believe these stories are inspired or God or not, that's up to you. If you want to say they're just good stories, that's okay too. I'm not here to convert anybody. I am here to tell you that the stories are there if you take the time to dig a little deeper and read into them, and you can get something out of it, believe it or not, that you can apply to your everyday life to, guess what? Make you a better husband, a better wife, a better sister, brother, or friend. And at its core, isn't that what true Christianity is supposed to be about? So that's what I wanted you to get from this, that I had a little fun, didn't mean in disrespect. Whether you guys know it or not, I prayed to my God, Jehovah, before I started this show because I didn't want to stumble anybody. Just wanted to have a little fun. So I hope I didn't offend anybody. I just wanted to bring it to the table in my own special way. So that's my say.
And you did that,
Respect.
as you always do.
Well, I appreciate you guys.
Bravo.
I love you guys for being a
Bravo.
part of this tonight. Brittany says pass the plate.
Pass the collection plate.
but I love you guys for hanging there with me. It can be a touchy subject. We all know that we're told as adults, don't discuss religion and politics. We can't do that anymore. We got to discuss everything. I thank King Noble for highlighting one of the fundamental foundation principles of our show. We can disagree. That's okay. We just don't need to be disagreeable about it. At the end of the day, that's my brother. I respect and love where he was coming from, because by him sharing his view, it sharpens us all to make us think about it in a different way. And that's where we have to be. We have to question everything. And like a grocery store, take a little bit from you and a little bit from you. And the stuff you don't need, leave on the shelf. But hopefully it'll make us all better people. So thank you guys for being a part of my take on the Bible. Love you all. I hope you come back again next week. Well, I'll come back on Sunday because I want to give you guys a programming note. We are going to do a show on Sunday, but in the interest of quality time and family, we're not going to do a show next Wednesday because we all know that that's going to be holiday week. And I want all of you guys to enjoy your holiday time like everybody else, including us. But see us on Sunday. We're going to have some fun. Love you guys. Everybody have a great night.
Good night, everybody.
Peace.